Welcome to the 2025 Annual Meeting of Stockholders of Intrusion Inc. I will now hand it over to Tony Scott. Tony, you may begin.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 Annual Stockholders Meeting of Intrusion Inc. I'm Tony Scott, President and Chief Executive Officer of Intrusion Inc. It's my pleasure to welcome you here today for this meeting, and now I'd like to introduce the Chairman of the Board of Intrusion Inc., Tony LeVecchio.
Thank you, Tony, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to again host our annual virtual meeting, which allows us to be more inclusive and reach a greater number of our stockholders. We have stockholders attending via the online audio webcast and the 800 number that we have provided. As is our custom, we will conduct the business portion of our meeting first and answer questions at the end of the meeting. Though we may not be able to answer every question, we will do our best to provide a response to as many as possible and will address any unanswered questions in our corporate website shortly after the meeting. In keeping with the digital approach to this year's meeting, it is now shortly after 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, actually Central Daylight Time, on August 19th, and this meeting is officially called to order. I would like to introduce the other members of the board at today's meeting. Tony Scott has served as one of our directors since 2021 and is currently our President and Chief Executive Officer. Katrinka McCollum has served as one of our directors since 2021 and is the current chair of the company's Audit Committee and a member of the Corporate Governance and Nominating Committee. Gregory Wilson has served as one of our directors since 2021 and is the current chair of the company's Corporate Governance and Nominating Committee and a member of the Audit Committee. Dion Hinchcliffe has served as one of our directors since 2024 and also serves as a member of the Audit Committee and the Compensation Committee. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Kimberly Pinson, the company's Chief Financial Officer since May of 2022, who is in attendance and will serve as the Inspector of Election for this meeting, and Mr. Doug Haloftis, the company's General Counsel since November of 2022, who will serve as the Secretary of the meeting. I will turn to him with any procedural issues that may arise. We are also joined today by Mr. Caleb Robeson of Whitley Penn, our independent auditors. Mr. Robeson will be available during the question and answer session after the meeting to respond to appropriate questions. And finally, as I previously mentioned, the company has appointed our CFO, Ms. Kimberly Pinson, to act as the Inspector of Elections. Ms. Pinson has taken the oath of Inspector of Election earlier today. After the formal meeting has been adjourned, we will provide time for general questions. Only validated stockholders may ask questions in the designated field of the web portal. Out of consideration for others, please limit yourself to one question. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. However, no one attending via the webcast or telephone is permitted to use any audio recording device. The Board of Directors has fixed June 30th, 2025 as a recording date for determining stockholders entitled to vote at this meeting. An affidavit has been delivered attesting to the fact that either one, the notice of internet availability of the notice of the meeting, the proxy statement, and the 2024 annual report to the stockholders, or the documents themselves were mailed on or about July 2nd to all stockholders of the record date and will be incorporated into the minutes of this meeting. The stockholder list shows that as of the record date, there were 19,895,095 shares of common stock outstanding and entitled to vote at this meeting. We were informed by the Inspector of Election that there are represented in person or by proxy shares, common shares representing 11,032,276 votes, or approximately 55.45% of the voting power on the record date. Since this represents more than a majority of the voting power of all issued and outstanding stock entitled to vote on the record date, a quorum is present for purposes of transacting business. Now I will present the matters to be voted upon. Please note that we will give stockholders an opportunity to comment on the proposals themselves after all proposals have been presented. Proposal 1 is the election of directors. The current board has nominated Anthony Scott, Katrinka McCollum, Gregory Wilson, Dion Hinchcliffe, and myself, Anthony Lavecchio, for election as directors to hold office until the 2026 annual meeting of stockholders or until their successors are duly elected and qualified. Proposal 2 is the selection of Whitley Penn as the independent certified public accountant for the year ending December 31, 2025. And Proposal 3 is the advisory approval of the compensation of named executives as disclosed in the proxy statement. While this so-called say-on-pay vote is advisory and non-binding, the board and the compensation committee of the board, which is comprised of independent directors, value the opinions expressed by our stockholders and will consider the outcome of this say-on-pay vote when making future compensation decisions regarding the named executive officers. If any stockholder would like to make a comment regarding on any of these proposals, please submit your comment through the web portal. It is now 9:07 a.m. Central Time on August 19th, and the polls are now open. Any stockholder who hasn't yet voted or wishes to change their vote may do so by clicking on the voting button on the web portal and following the instructions there. Stockholders who have sent in proxies or voted via telephone or internet who do not want to change their vote do not need to take any further action. We will pause for anyone who would like to vote. Now that everyone has had the opportunity to vote, I will declare the polls for the 2025 Intrusion stockholder meeting closed at 9:08 Central Time.
Mr. Lavecchio, do we have preliminary voting results?
We do. I have been informed by the Inspector of Elections, Ms. Pinson, that the preliminary vote report shows that the nominees for election of the board have been duly elected. Whitley Penn has been selected as Intrusion's independent CPA for fiscal year ending 2025, and advisory stockholder approval has been obtained for the compensation of the company's named executive officers as described in the proxy statement. We will be reporting the final vote results in a Form 8-K to be filed within 4 business days.
Thank you, Mr. Lavecchio. And there being no further business to come before the meeting, the 2025 annual meeting of stockholders of Intrusion Inc. is now adjourned. And now, having closed the meeting, we'll have our question and answer session.
We would like to open things up for stockholder questions and comments. We can begin with a few that we received in advance of today's meeting, and then we will take stockholders' questions that are being entered onto the web portal. Please note we will attempt to answer as many questions as time allows, but only questions that are germane to the meeting will be addressed. Any questions we do not get to will be addressed on the company's website.
We'll pause just a moment to see if there's any questions that come. Okay, not having had any questions, and there actually having been none submitted before the meeting, I'd like to just make one final comment. I'd like to thank everybody for attending the meeting and for your confidence in Intrusion. We look forward to speaking with you at our normal quarterly cadence. We just had our earnings announcement, and so I would refer you to that broadcast, which is on our website, and you can see our latest results and the questions that were asked at that time. So thank you very much.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending.
The meeting has now concluded. Thank you for joining. You may now disconnect.